Alright, so usually when it comes to tech reviews and unboxings, like I never get crazy nervous. Like usually I'll be like very excited, maybe a little bit nervous, but more excited than nervous. I'd say the only other time that I felt like this was when I was getting my hands on the camera that we're recording on right now, the Canon EOS C400, which was one of my first really big expensive purchases that I've ever made, especially when it comes to a legitimate cinema camera. Like I've never had like a true professional cinema camera before. The C400 was that first one, so I was definitely like nervous but very excited. But for some reason, this one makes me even more nervous just because, especially for what these things are that I'm going to be showcasing to you guys today, it's just like, compared to its price, it's definitely very drastic in terms of things that I've purchased before. But of course today we are focusing on cinema lenses. So pretty much when it came to my very first cinema lens I've ever bought, I do have this Mikey full frame 35mm T2.1. This was my very first one. Only thing I didn't really like about it too much was the focus throw. This thing has like that 270-degree focus throw, which is like really hard, especially for like a one-person shooter. So obviously not super easy to do, but of course having something like the DJI Focus Pro system has really come in handy. And when it came to that, I do have the DJI Focus Pro system connected to my Canon EOS C80 right now. So definitely when it comes to this kit, this is really nice to just go out on the field, get some really cool cinematic footage, and of course kind of have autofocus in a Cine lens. But again, when it comes to the Cine lenses that I've owned, whether it's the Helios 44-2 or the Mikey 35 full frame Cine lens, again, these are very budget cinema lenses. Now, not to say that I haven't purchased expensive glass and expensive lenses before. Like obviously right now we are filming on the Canon RF 24-70 f2.8. We do have the R1535 f2.8. And even when it comes to my Sony cameras, like the Sony FX3, I do have the G Master 1635 Mark II and the G Master 24-70 Mark II. So again, it's not like I've never bought expensive glass before, but this glass, given that it is a Cine lens, so it doesn't have autofocus, it doesn't have any like tech built into it, and especially given its price, much more expensive. In today's video, we are talking about the latest from Cooke, the Cooke SP3s. Technically, these lenses did come out, I think, either in 2023 or last year in 2024, and they recently came out with their new 18mm, which is like their, wide-angle lens within their lineup. The Cooke SP3s consisted of the 25mm, 32mm, 50mm, 75, and 100, and now they recently just added the 18mm, which completes that 6 lens kit, which goes for practically $26,000, which is crazy expensive. But I only ordered 2. I did get the 32mm version and I did get the 75mm version. Again, I just can't afford the full 6 lens set. But I really wanted to get at least a pair of these lenses so that way if I wanted a decent wide lens and a decent telephoto lens, I can match them really well. But anyways, let's open up this package and show you guys the Cooke lenses that we got. Then the nice thing is that the seller was kind enough to include 2 mounts, so that way we can mount it into our RF cameras, because when it comes to the Cooke SP3s, it does come standard with a Sony E-mount adapter built into the lens. I feel like before I get these things open, I kind of just want to talk about Cooke lenses in general and just why they're so expensive and why a lot of filmmakers sought out to get Cooke lenses. Now, when it comes to Cooke lenses and Cooke optics in general, these guys have been a gold standard in the film industry and in the cinema industry, like since the beginning of time, especially when it comes to just lenses in general for cameras. Like these guys have been around for decades and decades to come, and they've just had so many different iterations of the Cooke lenses. They've had Cooke lenses, they've had the Cooke Pancro lenses, the S4s, the S7s, like so many different types of lenses. It's insane. But the crazy thing about the Cooke lenses is that they are obviously very expensive, but the reason why Cooke lenses are very expensive is that they do give off a particular look that a lot of people call it the Cooke look, where I think the best way I can describe it is that it has a lot of character in the lens that just like gives it this nice visual aesthetic that's just pleasing to the eye, and it has this beautiful fall off in the corners. It like feels like an artist is like painting your frame, and it's almost like they're feathering off the edges. So that way it's really nice, especially if you do a lot of center framing for your footage, where like if you have your subject in the center, like everything else in the corner just starts to fall off, and it really attracts the audience's eye to the center of the frame. And it's not like a very clinical or clean lens, like for example like Zeiss optics. Like Zeiss makes really amazing glass, but the only thing is that they are very clean, which obviously can come in a lot of great situations. A lot of people like that clean look, so that way you don't have too much character or too much weirdness happening in the background, and you know for a fact you're going to be sharp, it's going to be very symmetrical, and it's going to look good. So that's one of the comparisons between like Zeiss optics and Cooke optics, but a lot of people too tend to like that Cooke look because it just creates a nice visual aesthetic for people to look at. And the nice thing about the Cooke SP3s is that these lenses are extremely small and extremely light. And especially a really cool thing is that for those who have watched the new Netflix series Adolescence, the main kit that they actually used to film that series was the DJI Ronin 4D with the Cooke SP3s. So if you are trying to figure out the type of look that these lenses give, I'd highly recommend checking out the show. One, it's an incredible show. I think the storytelling is phenomenal. Literally, we were watching a few episodes during my time at USC, so even USC tends to like that show as well. But it kind of just goes to show you like how nimble and how small your camera needs to be. But anyways, you guys, enough talking about the Cooke SP3s. Let's open them up and see how they actually look. Now that I took it out of the bubble wrap, like it is so much smaller and so much lighter. This thing just, it feels very premium. Like again, I'm not someone who likes to just be biased towards certain things, but like again, this thing is just an incredible build quality. The focus throw, oh my god, oh my dude. Okay, so this is 160-degree focus throw, and this is so much easier for solo operating. Like I'm literally just thinking back on all the times that I've like tried to do like, you know, focus following with my Mikey lens without the DJI Focus Pro system. And here we do have the Cooke SP3 75mm lens. Again, another beautiful construction, just like the 32mm. And of course, taking off that lid, and oh my god, just looking at that glass, it just looks so good, so perfect. So we just mounted the Cooke SP3, and this thing is such a cool setup. Like it's so lightweight, and the fact that we have like a super versatile Cine lens on the Sony FX3 is absolutely crazy. All right, so right now we are vlogging on the Cooke SP3 at a 32mm. Obviously, I really want to put this on my laptop and just see the beautiful fall off of this T2.4 lens. But again, not a lot of people are vlogging on Cooke lenses, so this is kind of cool. But again, like really just the fact that this thing is so lightweight and so portable is just one of the biggest reasons why I just want to make this my go-to Cine lens for everything that I do. But again, I really want to put it in real world environments and test it out to its full potential. So guys, we're officially back here in the studio. Now right now I am filming on the Canon C400 with the Cooke SP3 32mm, which is pretty much my main camera angle, but the main camera that I've been pairing the Cooke SP3 to is actually in fact my Canon T80 over there. What's up? Right now we do have the RF24-70 on it, so honestly this is kind of like a nice dual setup that I have right here for pretty much like my studio shots. So who knows, probably for my future studio shots, this may just be the future setup for what I do. But honestly, getting back into the Cooke SP3, I will say it's been about 2 to 3 weeks since I've had the lenses. I've done so much testing with them, both the 32mm and the 75mm, but honestly, I've grown a really strong attachment to the 32mm. Like I just use it for everything. I just feel like it's honestly like one of the perfect focal lens just for like any type of work, like especially if you're doing a short film, if you're doing a documentary, if you're shooting interviews, a podcast, you name it, like just for so many different things. I just feel like a 32mm is like so versatile. And also I'm really glad that I picked up that 75mm, because if I do want a bit more of a macro shot or a nice like telephoto tight look, literally right after I got these lenses, me and my parents, we went to the Bay Area, and we pretty much went to a new temple, a new Hindu temple that was built, and honestly it was so beautiful. It was like, it was very similar to like the Hindu temples that you see in South India, and like just the way that they made it here in the Bay Area just looked really good. Just the colors were super vibrant. It just like both on the outside and inside was just really cool to see, and it was a really cool time to actually take out my Cooke SP3 32mm, connect it to my Canon C80, and just film around and just really test out the lens and test out different flares and just the texture of the lens and the character. And honestly, I was just a huge fan of the final result, especially, and like again, I was like filming my parents here in a couple of shots that you'll see, and just like the way it just produces those skin tones and just the overall texture and just the look, even the background with the trees in the back, it was such a beautiful image, and it just really made me fall in love with the Cooke SP3s. And it's just like more and more time that I was using them, I was like, I found myself like not going back to my regular mirrorless lenses like my G Master or my RF lenses. I was just like using the SP3s way more because I really just enjoyed the look that the Cooke lenses give you. Just like that Cooke Look, I just really fell in love with it. Luckily, I was actually recently hired on a shoot to actually help film a family friend video for a friend of mine that was actually having a ceremony as a Hindu. You know, we call it the Upanyanam, or the thread ceremony. As a Brahmin, it's a very sacred moment, especially for the family and for the person in general. So it was a really cool video that I got to film for them, and it was a really cool shoot and gig that I got to do. So obviously, huge shout out to them for thinking of me to help film their ceremony. But I thought, since I was hired on the shoot, I thought it'd be the perfect time to take out the Cooke SP3. So I decided that the best pair that I was gonna do was my Canon C80 with the Cooke SP3 32mm. And honestly, it was just a really fun shoot, and I really got to push the SP3 to its limits and really just test out in so many different events, like really just testing out different looks, just filming into direct sunlight. And I will say, just like looking at the image, I can kind of tell that the Cooke SP3s create a little bit more of some barrel distortion to it. If you really pay attention to certain parts of the frame, there's like certain areas where I don't know if it's like barrel distortion or if it's like a cat's eye bokeh, but it's kind of like a mix between like a cat's eye bokeh and a little bit of like that barrel distortion that you can kind of tell at like certain edges of the frame. That honestly, I think it makes it look really cool. A lot of the shots where we were filming into direct sunlight, obviously you can kind of tell that the Cooke lenses do create a bit more of a purple flare to them. There's a bit more of like that purplish color that usually the Cooke lenses kind of skew to. And I do believe that is very similar to some of the older Cooke lenses, like the Panker lenses. Having something like a Cooke SP3 or just a Cooke lens in general that gives you that Cooke look really gives you that nice hybrid between a clean and a vintage look. So honestly, very happy with the results that we've gotten. I feel like this is like the perfect cinema lens for the type of shooter that I personally am, because for me, obviously, besides, you know, being in LA for USC as a film student, obviously now I'm starting to work on more sets and more productions, working with more people. So obviously, like now I'm working with more crews. But, you know, the stuff that I do here in Northern California, or just like for my YouTube channel or content creation, or just like a lot of the solo work that I do with, you know, my own personal short films or my own personal documentaries, a lot of the stuff that I do is solo work. And it's really hard, especially, you know, if you want to have like a really professional setup, you know, if you want to have a big camera, if you want to have a big lens, like sure, you can get that really professional look, but at the same time, it's just really hard to own and operate those things by yourself. But I feel like having things like the C400, the C80, FX3, and having lenses like the Cooke SP3 where it still gives you that professional cinema lens look, but just within a small form factor. And also the biggest thing that I love about SP3s is also just the focus throw between this 160-degree focus throw, where it's just so much easier to just manually operate it yourself. Whereas, you know, if you have other cinema lenses, it's literally like a 360-degree or like a 270-degree focus throw where it's like you have to like literally spin your arm all the way around if you want to, you know, manually operate it with it. But you know, just with this lens, you know, I can literally go all the way like this and I'm already reaching from minimum focus to infinity. And honestly, with that, I think that's going to do it for us on this video talking about the Cooke SP3s. And hopefully you enjoyed this video, just kind of showing you guys some of the footage that I got and some of the real world and real life scenarios that I've been able to put these lenses through. And honestly, I'm just a huge fan of these lenses. They just produce a really incredible image, and hopefully later down the line, if I can save up, I'll do my best to try and invest into the rest of the lens set. And with that, that's gonna do it for us on this video. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Take it easy. Peace.